Hey guys, and welcome to the meeting. Hey, back again. Today we're going to be continuing the project from last time. Last time we had, let me see if I can pull it up. It's login route right here. Last time we had the project, we were setting up the server and we wanted to test it with Postman, right? And so I didn't look at the videos because I wanted to walk you guys through the process of how we're going to solve that issue of how to test it with Postman. And if you guys haven't, Postman is an app that's right here. Where is it? Right here. So this app, you should download it. It's called Postman. There's a lot of different programs that you can download and use for backend testing. I primarily like Postman because it's super simple. However, there's a few that you can actually even use in Visual Studio, right? And so right here, let me put this aside. Okay, so what's our current problem? Let me see something. Okay, so we want to make a call from login. If you guys remember, we have login, right, which is going to be a route that we're going to be using right here. And we're going to make the call through login, like on the route, we're going to make it to login user. So right here. Okay. Have you guys I heard that some of you guys saw some of the videos that I sent, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so what did you guys look at before we get started? Like, do you guys go into like body or like I believe is I think parameters?
I mean, what I saw, I think it was body,
I believe it was headers, right? Yeah.
I mean, I think like what I saw mainly was like a body, and basically when you like try to write, the data that you're gonna put like into the database, I guess.
Okay. Give me 1 second, because I can barely hear you guys. What does it sound? Mixer. Oh, you guys are mics. Okay, I guess we'll have to work with that. Okay, that's fine. Okay, say it again. Sorry.
Oh, that I saw mostly, I think about like the body, basically how like you write the data like as a JSON file, I guess.
Yep.
And how basically like you can send basically like, yeah, if you post it, you can send it to the database in, I guess, Mongo, right?
Yes. So we're not, so that's the thing. So I want to look into some videos. Let me go back over here. Oh, wait, no, I opened up the wrong one. Okay, let me close that out. Okay. I wanted to look at some videos. So I'm basically learning with you guys, but this is the process of what I go through in order to learn. So let's go to mongodb.com. Log in, sign in. It's under this one. Okay. And while I do that, I usually like to open YouTube just to look at examples. And so what are we trying to do? We're trying to create like a test in order to test it with Postman, right? So I would say something like Node.js, right? MongoDB, and then MongoDB Atlas, because you have to specify Atlas because Atlas is the database that we're trying to connect to through the cloud. Okay, if you just put MongoDB, it's gonna give you like the regular MongoDB that's going to be using local storage. We're trying to work with the cloud.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Are we gonna save it for later? I don't want to intrude.
What's up?
All right. So, what's the difference between Postman and Mongo? Is my main question. Like,
so Mongo, this is your database, right? Right. Postman is actually it's going to be mocking like the front end, right? Like So imagine that this is the front end. Imagine, right? So we're gonna come in and let's say we're gonna be doing we're trying to do user login. So we could do username, right? And then this would be user, let's say user 1, right? I believe this is incorrect because it needs to be like formatted in a certain way. I don't usually use Postman a lot, but you should learn because it's crucial. I just do things like in different ways. But you could also do password, right? And you could do password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for example, right? This would be what the front end calls. So if I use my other project as an example, right? Imagine that Postman is actually like the front end is actually like giving these two values right here, right? That's going to be username and password.
Like it's gonna validate it though, you mean, right?
No, not validated. So think about it like this.
Like, okay, yeah, in Postman is the user, like we're treating it as a web browser, right? So like for the little the box where it says username and password to log in, that's my main, like I'm trying. Okay, so that's the demo, the Postman, and so if we input user 1 and password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, doesn't that go to the login route?
This is like this.
Right.
This is exactly, so imagine a Postman is actually mocking this process right here, right?
Yes. So how is it not validating it?
It's not validating because so it validates it once it goes into, so we also have to create like these username and password into the database. And then we have to, and then once we send this signal, it's going to receive it right here. And then we're gonna have the logic, right? We're gonna have the logic, and then it's going to send a response back, which Postman is going to receive.
Oh, okay.
That's so basically Postman, in other words, it's mocking the front end.
Okay.
This is why I told you guys that we don't really need the front end in order to do testing. So because we're doing the testing ourselves right here. Now the job of the front end is to mock this process. It's like their user their values have to be named exactly like what we named, because if not, it's not gonna work for them. In other words, we're always gonna be a step. We're always gonna be like a step ahead of them, and they're gonna have to follow in our footsteps.
Right.
Right. Okay. So imagine like right now, like what we want to do is that we want to watch videos or view documentation to how to get this process right. So that's our current goal, and we're just trying to create like a test base, you know. And from that base is what we're going to start working on from, because then by creating that base, we can understand how we can make these calls. Make sense?
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's how basically the process goes, and so that's why I want to teach you guys, so that way you guys don't like you guys understand how to start looking, how to start Googling, like you know. And so like I want everybody to like start inputting a little bit of you know, like of their opinions of what we should do, because this is not always like a straight clear cut through process. It takes a little bit of like trial and error. A lot of trial and error, actually. So let's say, so we're looking for Node.js, MongoDB, Atlas, and then Postman tutorial. There you go. So REST API, Node.js Express, Mongo, Postman. Okay, so this looks promising. Okay, so let's look how they're doing things. Okay, so he's doing the router. So exactly the way that we're doing it. But so he's doing get, he's doing the route. He's not using async because so remember that async is something that whenever you want something to wait. What that means is that if you want a function to if you want to make sure that a function gets done, that it doesn't get skipped over, then you put async, and then you would do something like, let's say const, let's say value equals await, right? When you put that await, it means that you want this to make sure that it runs. Like, so you want like the iterator, when it starts iterating through the commands, you want this const to make sure that it gets done, or that at least tries. So that way it doesn't get skipped over to just rest.send post. Okay. It's something that we might use. You don't always have to put async, but it's very useful when you want to do a process that like goes through a series of processes. Okay, so let's see. So I'm trying to see, for example, data that we can put. Okay, so he does the post. Okay, he does the get, type post. Okay, so let's try this. Let's do get, and let's do rest.send. Type. 1 second, let me try to keep my. Sorry, I can't make it today. Please let me know when the video is supposed to. Okay. So let's do type and get. Okay. And that should be correct. Okay, everything's correct. Press send. Okay. Now let's see the Postman. So he does post, type get. Okay. So type get. Okay. And he's also doing get. Well, we're doing get. Okay, so, and he's doing that on authorization. Why authorization? No auth, body response, headers. Oh, we're doing body, never mind. It's on the right one. Headers, and he's doing pretty, JSON, raw. Okay, so I think that's correct. Okay, so if he does that, oh, but he's sending an ID. That's okay. Cannot delete it yet. Okay, so this should be correct. So if we send it, oh, we don't have the backend running. Completely forgot. So CD server, 10 p.m. start.
Hey, you know, how do you know, like which local host you should use for the backend, for, in this case, for our like server, our cloud server?
So remember that if you ever have any questions about like the server, go into server.js and remember like the whole process of us creating the server, right? Go into right here where it says port, and we're using the process.env port, which is right here, or 5000, which is literally the same thing. That like the way that we set it up. And if you ever have any questions, when your server is running, I made it so that it runs on the port. And right here, if you see server is listening on port 5000, right? So then you go into Postman, and you have to make sure that it's localhost 5000. Okay.
I just want to add that makes, I don't know why, but that makes total sense right now, because the port process.env port is Mongo, right?
Yeah. So remember that the .env is what we're connecting right here, but remember that we're also passing port as also 5000. So this is important because when we go to deploy, we're gonna be changing this port, maybe. Okay, it depends on the deployment process and how we do it. But it says go to process.env.port, which is if it's going to this one, it's going to select this port right here, or do port 5000. Like that's the proper way to do this, right? And so right here, when the app is listening, when it's connecting to the socket, to the port, it's going to say, it's going to log this line, and it's going to basically select which port. And here it's telling you which port it's using.
I see it now. That makes total sense. I don't know. I just saw it right now.
No, it's important that you guys understand how this thing communicates. It's crucial for you guys to understand this. Okay, and that's why I leave messages all over the place, right? So that way you guys can read. Okay, check what port the app is listening to. Okay, or route middlewares. So in some videos, it's gonna say, okay, so you're gonna go to your middlewares, and then you're gonna be, okay, where are the middlewares? And always refer to server if you don't like, and then start backtracking from there. Like import the routes and create a router. Okay, so you import the routes and you create a router. Okay, and then the route middleware uses the router, and then we're using the basically the extension to the URL. So always backtrack. Okay, it's something that you guys will get used to starting after this meeting. And then like I said, if you guys have any questions at any moment, just like hit me up. Okay, but yeah, so that's a good question. So that way now you understand where to find the ports. And then here's a second check that lets you confirm what port it's using. Okay, so then now that we have the backend running, if we make a call, you see, this is the response. And you know that this is right because we get a 200 code, status code. Okay, so this is important for you guys to understand. So status codes, what do they mean? We have a bunch of status codes. Okay, have you guys ever heard of the 404? Like whenever you go into a website, like it can't find a page, it gives you a 404, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so look what it means. Not found, error client, right? So if we were to change this to user 1, and look what's gonna happen, 404, right? And the call gets completely misplaced. If we go back and we use the route that the API is using, this is not it, it's the other one. Oh wait, no, it was that one. I'm sorry. If we go back here, right, we're using the proper route, and that means that we get type get, right? So this is how you're able to confirm that the call is being correct, 200 okay. And what we wanted, if we go back here, this is what we wanted, right? If we put this side by side, we said the response to send type get error, type get, and that's exactly what we got. Okay, and so that way we start working from here. Now we know that a Postman is working and that this is the correct route. Okay, now we can start working from here. So now we look at other videos. Oh wait, but let me finish telling you guys what each code means. So we have 404. The main ones that you want to focus on are 200, which is okay. It means success, right? You want to focus on 400, which is bad request, bad response, right? Bad request response, and 404. Those are the three main ones that you want to focus on: 200, 400, and 404. Now, when you start diving deep, a little bit deep into user login authentication, you will have something like 422, right? It means that the server, like here, let me give you an example of a 422 error login, right? So if I go right here, right? And this is primarily for like error 422 is primarily for user authentication. So if I do admin, right, and I miss one word of my user login, I get a 422. Make sense?
So whenever you get, you always are getting back those, I forgot what they're called, the numbers.
Status codes.
Yeah, the status codes. So you're always like getting those back into your server, like every time you're making like calls and all that stuff.
Correct. So so when something goes wrong, the computer will tell you it's either it's gonna be either 400, 404, 500, I think it's 501, or 422, like all these status codes. And your job is to identify them and work around them. So for example, if you go right here, someone has a mic on. Oh, okay. So right here, you have an example of a 422, how I'm handling it. Okay. So I'm saying that over here, so we create the admin user. If it gets created, then we try to compare the password. If it does not match, right, we send the status code of 422, right? And on the front end, if we go to the front end, which is around here, components, where's home? Dashboard page, no, login page, home, right? If I go right here, where is it? It's around here. Okay, right here. Here's how I'm handling that 422. I put a try catch. I put a try. The front end does their own thing, right? And then I come over here and I catch that error, right? And I put it into the status. I basically handle that error, right? And if I say if the error, right, is 422, then I do wrong username password combination. That's how you handle errors, but that's like more advanced. What we want to do is that we just want to identify it and send it. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's always like with the machine is always telling us if we're like what.
You're always going to get an error. If something doesn't go right, you're going to get an error. And this is going to make sure that you know which one it is. Okay, it's going to give you the status. So let's say you do, like I said, like if you do user 1, 404. Okay, or let's say that the command, like what you pass right here, like what you pass right here, it's wrong. Then it's going to like if we do like a post, right? Remember that I told you guys what the post means. It basically you can like a post request, you can basically modify it so it checks the values in the database. If it's wrong, if it's for user authentication, then it's going to give you 422, and that's how you can handle it here. And that's where like things start getting a little bit complicated, but once you get it done, it's like, wow, like that's how it works, so let's keep going. So right here we get type O. So I believe we don't even have to do anything just to get this request, right? Let's see. Yeah, all you have to, for a get request, all you have to do is basically just send the request and it gives you the result, right? Because that you're getting the data. So this works by itself. You don't need to send, you don't need to send anything. So you can also put something like message, right? It works, right? Wait for here. It's connected. If I go right here, it works. Okay. You guys are good?
Yeah, it makes sense. That makes sense.
So we start breaking down the problem. Now we got the Postman working, okay? So now our next thing that we want to do is how do we create a cluster in MongoDB Atlas that we can call back to. Okay, so let's check out the tutorial, right? Because he's just testing with Postman. Okay, so then we go back and we keep on looking at videos. Okay, MongoDB Atlas, connect Atlas with Express. Okay, let's watch this one. I skip over a lot. I just like look over what I need to. Okay, so right here. So add API. So he's still connecting. He's connecting. He's going through the process of connecting. Okay, MongoDB Atlas. You know what? I think we might have to do a model. So let's do MongoDB Atlas model using Node. Yeah. So remember that we had a model right here. Remember, never touch index. Never. Like, let this be. This is working. Don't break it. Okay. So this is what we want to work on. Okay. And we want to create like a base. And you guys know what a model is, right? You guys remember what it was?
Like a the post, get, update, delete things.
You're close. Anybody else want to give it a try?
Wait, what did you say?
So what do you think? Do you know what a model is? Like
Model. I mean, I kind of saw it. So I think it was supposed to be something, basically like, so you could make the calls and all that stuff for the API, I think.
So, okay, so let me explain to you. You guys are close, but you guys are not hitting it. A model is something that populates automatically on the database. So let's say that right now, I think this one's fully working, but I'm not sure because like browse collections. Let's see if this one works. Oh, it's not working. Logins. My first database logins. Oh, who created this? Interesting. So a model is basically like the cookie cutter template that we use for. It's like a cookie cutter template that we use that automatically populates on the database. Okay, so let me give you an example, right? So in my project, I have a model. Let me show you. I have different models. Like, let's say I have this one for admin, right? So if I were to delete, like let me give you here. I have one for roles, and I'm not really using roles, so I can delete this. Right. So if I go into the database and I accidentally delete roles, which first of all, let me show you what roles has. It has ID and username, but it's empty, right? That's why I don't care about like deleting it. Drop table. So if I were to drop the table, in this case on SQL, I don't have it anymore, right? But I could always go back, and if I have it set up a certain way that the model populates on its own, right? Here, let me show you. So I have roles, right? Here's the model for the roles. So if I were to kind of like restart the server, right? Right. It restarted, and I made it so it populates the model of the database automatically. So if I go back to the database, and if I refresh it, I have models again.
It's a little it's a schema, right? Like a
Is the template. It's basically the model is the model of the template. So I don't have to go back and for example, create a new table and name it and go through the whole process again of like doing it by hand. The code does it automatically for me every time that the server runs. So what that means is that for a new user, for a new person that's logging into the app, this database is being created automatically on their phone. As soon as the server starts running, this all of these four, like my models get populated. Okay. And that's the idea behind models. So we want those models to be populated automatically in the database. That way, if something goes wrong, or like if you guys were to connect to the database, it's automatically populated to you guys. But this is a cloud. So if somebody were to accidentally delete anything in the cloud, like the model will populate on its own again. Okay.
How though? How does it populate again? Because of the code?
Because of the code. It basically it'll return and it'll create the model like right here. If I think if you can see it right here. Every time I run my server, this pops up: executing default create table. If it does not exist, admin. If this is creating the admin. This is creating the manager one. Then the role, create tables if it does not exist, users, and the roles are right here. It creates the table automatically.
Yes, so like it creates the template, but it doesn't create, like any of the data. For example, like
None
if
of
you
the
lose the
data.
data, like that's just lost.
Correct. That's exactly correct. It doesn't create the data. It only creates like the template for it. It makes our life a lot easier.
And we could add to it, right? Like add an attribute.
Right. Yeah. And that's the idea. Whenever you go to create, whenever you're going to create a new cluster or database in a database, because for MongoDB they're called clusters, for SQL they're called data tables. Whenever you go to create a new cluster, it's ideal for you to have a model in case something goes wrong. It automatically populates on its own, and it's good practice because whenever somebody like logs in with their phone or something, this automatically gets created on their database, on their session.
Okay.
Okay, so that's our next goal. So we want to look into how to create models. Okay, so right here, let's start skipping over. Express, they're setting up the server, and then, oh, I saw something. Here, let me make this a little bit bigger. Connections. Okay, so they're not dealing with models. Usually they'll have like a package that says models like this one. Okay. Oh, and then we're also using Mongoose. That's also important to include. Mongoose. Connect cluster with Mongoose. Okay, so he's connecting. So if I don't find it here, I'm gonna hop into Stack Overflow. Okay, Mongoose title. Okay, so here you see. So he's creating a schema, Mongoose schema, blog, new schema, title, body, date, type, default date now. Okay, so that's kind of like what we want. So he is doing models right here. This is a model. So I want to see how he does it. Okay, so we could either save this video. Like, let's see what happens when he launches it. Okay, so yeah, but he's doing it on the main server. We don't want that. You could always like translate this here, which is not a problem, but not ideal because you might run into a few errors. We just want to get one template down and we can work from that template, remember. So that's kind of like the whole process of, you see, once he connects it, it basically populates on its own on the database. And so that's the idea, but we want something on the models. So Mongoose schema. Okay. When I get to the code. Okay, so he connected, still connecting. Doing the .env. Okay, so here's where this is where you want to start looking. Okay, so Express, he's doing the router. Okay, this is what we wanted. Okay, so we got const mongoose require mongoose. Okay, we do const schema mongoose. There's also a thing that you need to match this name to what you're doing. So he's doing course schema. So let's change this to user or like login. No, user. Yeah, users. Lowercase. Users. Okay. So now users. And then we want this to be why is it capital here but not here? Oh, never mind, he's doing capital. There's a certain way that you want to do things so that way they don't get confused all around. So users, mongoose require mongoose, so this would be users schema. Okay, then we do mongoose schema. We delete this, and it's going to be right here. It's going to be users schema. Are you guys following?
Yeah, aren't you supposed to do a user there?
Oh, right here. So that depends. So this is the information that you want to kind of like this is kind of like the information that you kind of want to have in the database. So we have to think. So what do we want from users? We want username and password for now, right? So we do username, which is going to be a string, and we do password, which is going to be another string. This is just for testing purposes, right? And then we don't need date. So, okay, so let's keep going. So he did module exports mongoose model users, and then user schema, which connects to this one. Correct. Okay, so this is all working, and the database is still running. So that means it went through. Okay, so if we keep like going. So he went into courses, he went into app.get ID. Okay, so then he goes into tag. Okay. You can like just pay close attention to all of this because he might change something, and the goal is to have this populate automatically. Remember. Okay. Correct data format, date type default. Okay. Export. Okay, so now he's doing the GET request. Okay. We're almost there. Okay. Okay, so he does GET. I think he's doing a GET request. Courses. Okay, so we have to import it. So you see this const course equals required course models. So he's importing the models, which is our login route. Const is going to be users, user, require, right? And it's going to be 2 dots to go back, then models, and then we do users. Okay. And then okay, so here he's posting. So let's change this to a post. Okay. Remember that we want to insert information in. Okay. And so he's doing const my course equals new course. So what do you think is, what do you guys think it should be? Const, like new user equals new user. Okay. And if you guys remember, we have username and password. Okay. So he has course and he has tag, right? So we do username, right? Let's leave that blank for now. We have password, which this is going to be the rec, the request body, course, username, yes. And this is going to be the rec body password. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, we're importing the user file.
So where are we getting, so where's the user file?
It's okay, so we're using require, so to import from users. And then my question would be, isn't the username and password in users.js?
Yes. Remember that, so we're creating, so hold on, let's put user login. So let's change this into user login for now, for testing purposes, right? And then let's change the, I'll answer your question in just a second. I don't want this to get confusing. Okay. So what is your question? That we're using user, right?
So what we do, like if let's say for a user logs in, that's stored in this file.
So we are going to try to input whatever we're going to try to pass, right? Like this information, whatever we try to pass, we're trying to, right now, our goal is to implement it into the database, to create a new cluster that automatically populates into this database. We don't have the database yet. So let's remove this and have it empty, right? So it's empty right now. See, we already have it, users. It already populated already. How funny is that? Let's see if we can, let's try to see indexes. ID. So as you can see, it already populated inside the database. It already connected. So even if we try to delete users, it should populate on its own. Like if you update the server, okay, and if you refresh, you see? Because it's already connected. Like users, it's already connected. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and isn't like user supposed to be like, well, in this case, like username and password? Like, where can
Yeah.
we see that?
Right now, we don't have any data. And remember, I'm learning with you. So we got to find it. But that's basically the like the next question, you know, like how can we find like the information? So right now we have my first database users, and users is the model that we have, right? And so this is this, correct? And so right now we're trying to find like the values. We haven't put any values, so it's empty. The moment that we get this API working, right, and we do a request, through Postman, like it should aggregate here. Make sense?
Yeah.
So it's
So
yeah. What's up?
oh no, I was gonna say, so for example, in this case, like we're gonna use like localhost again, like 5,000 in the Postman,
Yes,
and it's
correct.
now supposed to load it into our database.
That is correct. So that is basically the goal. Like the goal is to do username, right? And then we could probably do, maybe it's working. I'm not sure, maybe, but I don't think it's fully ready yet. The goal is to do like username 1, and then we could do password. And let's do password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that is the goal, to pass this, and that it loads up into the database. I mean, let's try it, 404, it's not connected yet. Okay. And so we got to keep working on this, but it's almost ready. Remember that this is the request. So we're saying that whatever the body gets passed as a request body as username, it's which is this. This is the request body, that username, right? This is this.
We're missing the dot send.
Yes, exactly. Now you're catching on. But like, I want to keep watching the video just to see exactly like how he does it. You see, and then like body tag. And I want to get to the part where like he sends it. Okay, request body. Okay, so it says save my course, save. Okay, so we're probably missing this part right here. Okay. And I believe this is all within the same call. So if we go right here and we do new user, right? So we do new user, then we do dot save, right? And then dot then result. Okay. Let's do console log. Console log. So this is basically a way for us to see like the value in here. Console log result. And then we got to do a try catch error like he's doing. So if not, then you catch the error and you're gonna name it, I guess, error. That's how a lot of people do it. And then you console log the error, and it'll tell you why it went wrong. Okay. And this, okay. And so we make sure that this is running. And it is. So let's keep going. And then we have the export route. Okay, let's see if he does anything else. We have the body parser. We're not using body parser. That library already got deprecated a few months ago. But okay, so body parser is basically a way to parse every URL request as JSON, but instead we're using express URL encoded. And it basically does the same thing. Like body parser, like that library, if you ever see anybody using body parser, don't use it. Your whole entire project is going to collapse because that library got deprecated. So we already got that covered. So you basically don't have to use it. Okay, so then body parser, JSON, okay, it's express.json. So we're using that, express.json. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to do post. Okay, and let's test it out. Oh, you see? It worked. Okay, and then now, so whenever you do a call, since we put like console log result, it's giving us this, right? So that means that it caught like username as username 1 and password is password 1012345. So now this is the moment of magic. And the reason why it's still sending requests, it's because we never put any send back. We never sent anything back to the front end. Okay. And so if we go back over here, oh, wrong one. If we go back over here, if we refresh it, I'm hoping to see, and it's in. One of you guys has the login is still on, like one of you guys is connected to the database and you guys still have the logins, which is fine. But what's it called? Like, as long as you have the model for the logins, it's still going to populate the logins. Make sense? You guys have any questions?
We're gonna be in teams doing each route.
So there's 3 routes that need to be done. Okay. And I'm gonna have you guys working on teams to figure those 3 routes. I'm probably gonna set the routes for you guys, like by the end of this video. Probably like I'm gonna try to end it by 10. But I'm just gonna set up like the 3 routes, which is the sign up, the login, and forgot password. Okay, those 3. And then you guys can divide into 2 or 3 of people, teams of 2 or 3. But the goal is for you guys to actually figure it out. Like this is the process of how, like right now, how I figured it out. You know, how I sent stuff to the database and how I tested it out. And so because I have this, right? If I do another request, right? If I do like, so let's do get user, right? And then I do let's say I do username and password, right? Equals to request body, right? I believe that's correct. Let me check that out. Give me just 1 second. I believe, yeah, so you have to do const. And this has to be a get request. Okay, so these are the 2 bodies that like you want to request. And so you want to do something like, how do we do this? So now let's go back. Let's copy all of this and we put it into Stack Overflow, get request. Stack Overflow, Stack Overflow, Stack Overflow right here. So let's see. Post. You can do a post as well, but we want like we're not really going to be working with get request, so let's just do post request. Remember that we're going to be posting and checking the database. We're not really going to get any value from the database. So let's put check if exists user. Okay, and then this is going to be the username and password that's going to be requested. Okay, and so then you could do something like how can I check this? I don't want to give you I don't want to give this tool away because this is how you do the login route. Let's just do user. I want you guys to work a little bit. User. So check if user exists. So Mongo's connected, how to perform CRUD. So connected, and then the API call would be this. This would be the model. You know what? This is actually very useful for you guys. Let me send you guys this. Okay, there you go. Name, calories. Let's see. Here. So get const await food model. Food model. Let me just do the get. So that way we get like the, so we do const check user. We can call it. We do an await. So we make sure that it gets done, right? And then we do user, because that's the model that we're using. And we're say find. Okay. And then you do a try catch error. Right. Response is going to be foods. So this is going to be check user. If not error, and then if not respond with a, if it cannot find the user, then we respond with the error, and the error is going to be status 500. Right? If you check what status 500 is, status code 500. It means that the server encountered an unexpected condition that prevented it from fulfilling the request. Okay, so then let's go back over here. And then this is all correct. And then I want to find here, hold on. I want to use const username, which is going to be the rec body, because this is what I'm going to be passing from the front end to the back end, right? And so find username. Okay. And then the response, which this is going to be res. And this should work. Okay, so if I go to Postman, right? And if I do, give me 1 second. If I do check, right? And remember that I'm doing a get request, right? And if I do username 1, this should work. Here you go. You guys have any questions? Now is the time to ask.
Yeah, I was thinking since like this is supposed to be kind of like like a hidden route, right? So why do
Yes.
we have use the check if exit user? Like shouldn't it be just like I mean I guess it's supposed to use it, but it shouldn't really show it, right?
So yes. So I mean, this you can specify a little bit more. Right now it's just finding the user. So it's basically saying like find anything within this cluster that has username one. And this is all it found. Like it literally iterated through the whole entire database just to find username equals to user one. And that's what it sent back right here. Okay. Let's say we were to add another user, right? We go back here, we do post, right? And we do username. Uh, let's do password. Uh, let's do username too, right? And let's do password 32. Let's just do 32. Whatever. There you go. This should send a request to the database. If we check the database, right, and we refresh it, now we have two. We have user one, and user two, right? So now if we go back and we do, see, we cancel, we do the get, right? And we do the check if user exists. And remember that right here, we're only intaking username as a parameter. We could do username and password, right? Then we can add password right here. Right, so this would be password 32, right? Because that's really what we wanted. And so right here, we say find anything with user, and I believe you do and password. I believe that's correct. Like that, yeah. And then if it finds a username with these two values, matching these two values, which are these two values that we're passing here, then it's going to create this check user. And this check user is what's going to be sent back to the, like over here, right? So if we do this call, something went wrong. Find username. Was it correct? Let me see. Password 32. Yeah. Password 32. Username 2. Okay, so let's see what happened. So we got a 200 okay, but it's sending back an array. So we see body test results raw. Huh. Oh, it's sending back any array. Check user. So then we do check user, username, and then check user password. Okay. Wait till the server starts running. Perfect. And there's another way to do this. I'll show you guys right now. Like if this doesn't work, then sometimes you want to send the request twice. Oh, right here, we have an error. The error is express deprecated rest send status body. So we cannot do this call right like this. It's this call right here, status body. So there's another way to do this. So you can do check user, and then you do JSON to send the body as JSON. Wait till the server starts running again. Send it. Interesting. I'm not sure why. Oh, I know why. Body. Because we got it as a body, we're sending it as a body. There's different ways to go around about this. So you see as JSON.
Hey, so does that mean that you can also like send it, I don't know, as like
Oh, you can send a
headers
whole
or-
entire, you can send a whole entire thing full of data. You just gotta know how to send it, you know? And so, and that's what's really cool about it. So I think it has something to do with this. And so there's different ways that you can go about this. Find user. So remember that this would be equals to.
I wasn't sure like how it's like displaying the ID.
How is it displaying the ID? The ID is self. It's created by itself on its own.
From where? From the database or from the,
Yeah. So the ID is created. It's created on its own, basically. So like this ID, it's basically the cluster ID. If you ever want to refer to this object, you basically like you can connect objects with more objects. And I mean, that's when you start going deeper into like how databases work. This is just like a main cover, like crash course. If you want to go deeper into it, then feel free to. I highly encourage you to, because that way you can actually understand how everything is being connected. MongoDB does it like I focus mainly on MySQL because I think it's a little bit more cleaner, but like more power to you if you do it, because like this can be very powerful if you learn it, you know. And
Okay.
so what I'm saying is find like a cluster that has username with a value of user, right? And the cluster password with the value that's being passed as password. Okay, let's see if this works. It didn't. So you gotta just look for it. You know what I mean? And like you gotta look for examples in like you could just look for. I think we have like 9 more minutes. Okay, so let's see. Um, how can I put it? Node.js, Mongoose, get request, body, send, body. And, you know, just like let's see, requested payloads. Okay, so let's look for the get request right here. Var user, new user. Okay. Save. So this is a post. No. No, this is not it. Here he's creating like the schema. No. So using Mongoose post. Post. Okay, so you do a new post. Okay. And then you return next error. No. So we're trying to get like the get request. Okay. So this looks promising. Send file that index get post. Login. Equals. Okay, so here they're separating it. instead of making it just one, and then console log. What if we do the send request? Let's try to see if this works like this. Okay. Let's just simplify it. Yeah, so this works. Okay, so now if we add a second one, let me see how I did it for mine. Oh yeah, well, I separated mine. Okay, find one, user, admin password. Okay. Okay, so the way I did mine was I created another const, check user, and then check password equals await. And then I did await, so user find will be password equals to password, and then right here will be the payload password. Okay, so send, and then we can probably send check password right here. Maybe this might work. Let's see. It says unhandled, express deprecated. Oh no. Use rest status, send body. So use rest status, send body instead. Let me cross this out. Right. Send status to 100. Send I guess that works. Send status to 100, and then I guess like plus. Okay. Oh, would you look at that? It works. And I think you could actually like mix these two together. Which is what we were trying to do initially. Right? And then just send this as one whole body. Nope. But there's ways to do things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is not the most efficient way, but definitely like definitely the a pretty, it gets pretty close. So if I were to do, I guess like miss one letter, it still gets it because of check user. There is a way, hold on. There's a way to do, let me see. There's a way to do it like, hold on, rec body, rec email. Oh, okay. And then await. You can do it like a function, but rec body. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. We have to look into that. Okay, so I guess this concludes this. I'm going to push this in so you guys can have like this as an example. Remember that what we're going to be using, we're not going to be using get, but the get request, it gets pretty similar to post depending on what you want to do. And that's your job to find out how to use them. But this is like these two are working, okay, and they're connected to the models inside the why did this open? They're connected to the models inside like the node, like this one right here. Okay, so if you want to create, like depending on what you want to do, create a new model, like a new file, call it like whatever you want. Like if it's like a sign up, if you guys if your team is doing the sign up, then do like the sign up and then follow like the file that I sent you guys the other day. Where is it? I think it's in the front end. Let me send it to you guys right now. Yes, right here. So it's this file right here. If one of you guys is doing the sign up, then do like email, user, password, and all of that. And then make sure it works. Make sure that if you do like a full entire like JSON call through like Postman, make sure that that data goes into the database, and then try calling it back to see. And then if you do the post, and then you do the get, and they're both working, then that means that it's working. And so that then the login could use that information, you know, to log into the database and and basically get that information and like verify the login, and we can continue from there. Does that make sense? Am I going too fast?
Yeah, are we gonna have like a list to or with the same?
I can make it for you. I can make the list. Like just stick around just a little bit. We still have a lot of time. I have a lot of tests right now to go through, but I can take some time for you guys. Give me just 1 second.
Okay, are we gonna look at anything else? Because I kind of have to go.
No, so that's that for now. So just pick your team, if you can. I can probably put it on the Discord, like to see, like I'm gonna put like, oh, like there's I need 3 teams for now, you know, like, and these are the tasks. Work together under the same branch if you want, and that way, like, you know, try to spend some time over the weekend to look at what you have to do. I'm gonna have like, I guess, like office hours to like whenever I'll if you ever see me like online, and I'm probably gonna create like a little channel that says like office hours. I think there's already one. Uh, just hit me up if you have any questions regarding to your side of the project, okay? And so
Sure.
that way you can start working towards with your team, and by next week we should have uh close to what we want, you know, like a rough idea, and then I can help you guys start adding security to it, you know. And I'll help you guys how like to I'll help you guys on that. But like I want you guys to get like the base and start understanding how Postman works. Okay, and how to do the testing and how to do just basically this process of the API, the models, and so on, you know, because that's kind of like the stepping stone of this whole project.
Okay, then. Thank you. See ya.
So yeah, just go. I'll post the videos by tonight. I'll try to get. That's kind of like my goal to have them all done by tonight, and you should be good. To should be good to start after today. Okay. Like pick your like I'm gonna like I said I'm gonna post it on the Discord. Pick your teams, and then you go on from there. Okay.
Okay.
And then I'm posting this thing right here right now. Oh, my right click. Hold on. I'm gonna post this into the Discord backend. Yeah. So that's gonna be the template for this is the template for the sign up. Okay. And then, yeah, so that's that. And yeah, any questions? No questions. Let me push this to the cloud. So this,
in using GitHub, but I guess I'll just watch a tutorial to not waste your time.
what's up?
Like I'm still not familiar with like right now I'm in VS and I'm trying to see the same files, right? Like
VS or VS Code?
VS Code and like for example, I don't see the same files you're seeing, and I know I've seen them before.
Okay, so give me 1 second, and then I'll allow you to show your screen. Okay.
Okay.
Template for API with Postman. Okay. So push that. Okay, so you guys all have that. Okay, share your screen. Okay, let's see. No problem. Okay, so you gotta close those notes. Okay, so go scroll up all the way up. Okay, close the notes. Okay, you don't have anything. Okay, so go on the terminal and do C. Don't close it. No, don't open it too much.
Okay.
What do you have? Course 1, course 2, course 3. This is your branch, right? No, this is not even your branch. No, you're in the wrong project, bro. Okay, so go to your GitHub. Go to your GitHub desktop. No. Go to your GitHub desktop. Okay.
Tried fetch and
Okay, so do me a favor. Click here. Oh, Natalia's here. Hello.
Hi.
Snooping. Right click on the project and open it with VS Code.
doesn't.
Yeah, it's right there. Open in Visual Studio Code. That's your project, homeboy. All right.
All right. All right. Thank you.
So wait. So before you go, wait. Let me guide you. Okay, close this window. Okay, don't close it yet. Just go back to the VS Code. I just made a new change, so you pull it. Okay, now go, once that's done, go over here. No, other one. Yeah, go to your branch. This one. Okay, now go to branch. Go to merge with current branch. Now click on master. Create and commit. Okay, now go back to your VS Code. Oh, wait. Push origin. Now go back to your VS Code. Go to the terminal. New terminal. Now do CD server and start it. No, oh yeah, you can do that. You could do npm start. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so it's working. Okay, so now you have a copy, like on your routes and models. Now you have a copy of everything on like from the main branch. Okay, from the master. Okay, so now you have everything that I just did.
Okay.
Okay, so you can work from here. So that if you have any questions, like you can always refer back to this code right here. Okay.
Lastly, you said you're gonna like create the teams, right? Not create the teams, but post the openings, and then
Yeah. So I'm gonna be like, okay, so I want you guys to separate into 3 teams. If like you guys can be up to 3, 4, it doesn't matter, but I want you guys to all work together in order to like solve like the issues. I've done it on my own, but like I know that this logic doesn't come easy. Okay, so I want you guys to all work together throughout the weekend. You know, it'll probably take like maybe like a few hours. It depends. You could always like look at my code from like the videos, and you can guide yourself through there. That would be like the easiest way for you guys. But the goal, like it won't fully work for you guys because I'm using SQL and you guys are using Node, like MongoDB, which is completely different. But the logic is probably the same, you know?
All right.
And so, yeah, and so we go from there. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
You too.
Hi, Manu, I meant to ask you.
What's up?
Herm just asked me if all of your meetings will be online